Well, now, Lionel Shriver wrote the novel We Need to Talk About Kevin, about a massacre at an American school. Can we just look at this broader question of the place of the gun in American society? You were born in the States. Are you now taking British citizenship, aren't you?
Not yet.
But you're about to.
Definitely.
If you continue your self-improvement.
With more stories like this, definitely.
But do you understand why the gun has got this special place in American culture?
Well, you know, it runs very deep in the history. I remember I had to memorize a part of the Declaration of Independence when I was in junior high school. All about, most importantly, that bit about how the state governs at the consent of the governed, and it's up to the governed to consent or withdraw it and abolish the government and start another one. And the first time we did that violently. And school children learn this, that if you don't like your government, you essentially have the right, the moral right to overthrow it. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that there is an element of the right, the gun rights lobby that really has to do with, in the back of their minds, if push comes to shove, we should be able to overthrow the government by force.
But this is a mature, stable democracy. There is no chance of the state being overthrown.
Of course not. It's a fantasy. That's one of the things that's a little odd about it. I mean, there have been occasions where citizens tried to withdraw their consent, and it didn't work out very well. Look at Waco, Timothy McVeigh, who was killed by lethal injection. I mean, it's an absurdity. But there is an element in the United States that is very uncomfortable with the state, suspicious and even hostile, and feels that rather than the state needing to have that classic monopoly on violence, that the citizen needs to be armed in order to counterbalance the power of the state.
When you hear an argument like the one we just heard there, put pretty cogently by that gentleman in Philadelphia about people protecting themselves, do you understand that?
Yes, I do. I mean, I understand the primitive need to defend yourself, especially in a country where lots of other people have guns. I mean, it does compound itself. If many other people in your surround are armed, then you feel like a fool not to be.
But is there something uniquely malevolent about Americans? Uniquely menacing as an environment?
No, I don't think so.
So what's behind it?
I think the gun has become an emblem of that unfettered individual liberty that Americans are told over and over again that they enjoy, but they don't really have. And that makes the gun even more important. Now, the truth is, Americans are as overtaxed and overregulated and controlled by this, that, and the other thing as any other Western citizenry. But they're told all the time that they're free. They don't feel free. And I think the gun has a way of giving you that sensation of real liberty and real power. And guns do confer power.
Sure.
In fact, they confer so much power that when you think about it, all that you can get people to do if you have one, take off their clothes, let you into their house, give you all their money. It's amazing that every American doesn't have a gun.
Just to talk briefly about this awful killing, given the subject matter of your own novel, We Need to Talk About Kevin, what did you conclude when you saw what happened?
Nothing. I mean, that's what's so difficult about these things, is that they leave you stymied. There is nothing to conclude. And there has been this, one of the reasons we're talking about gun control is that it's one of the only lessons to draw. Because otherwise you just are left with the capacity of human beings, especially unbalanced ones in this case, for malevolence And there's nothing to say. I was approached by countless newspapers over the weekend to write for them, and I had to turn them down, partly out of a sense of humility. I mean, incapacity. What do you
felt
say?
you could say nothing.
Yes, I could say nothing. I mean, the detail about this killing that most upset me was the fact that these little children were shot multiple times and with accuracy to absolutely make sure they're dead. My imagining of most people who fantasize about this kind of an incident ahead of time, once they get there, I don't think it usually feels the way they think it's going to. And that gives them some kind of pause. But this guy, there was no pause. And once he was actually putting a gun into a 6-year-old's face, he didn't hesitate. And that just floors me.